Thank you, Patty. Thank you, everybody. Michael is famous for appearing in unusual jackets, but this one you've outdone yourself. What's going on?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Spencer. Well, I always try and make an effort when I come to Dublin, the fashion capital of the world, and I thought this would be a good jacket, a military-inspired jacket, because we're close to launching a new game at Mind Candy called World of Warriors. And I actually thought it might be good to make an entrance on a white horse, and you could have led me through the crowds.
We got some sheep.
Sheep, maybe not so good, but I think Paddy might have had a heart attack if we tried to get some animals in here.
Now, war games, that's not the usual Mind Candy demographic, is it? I mean, 7 to 12 is my favorite years, and seemingly Mind Candy's.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of people know about the history of Mind Candy and Moshi Monsters. We've had an incredible journey there, and Moshi is for the 7 to 12-year-old audience, but we've seen, we want to expand our horizons, and we want to see ourselves now more as a family entertainment company. So we're broadening our wings, developing a lot of new products, and World of Warriors is aimed at the whole family, not just kids.
Well, let's instead of getting ahead of the story, let's just dial back. I mean, you guys, 6 years ago, founded, shot up to 80 million users, is that right?
80 million registered users for Moshi.
And it was desktop-based.
Yes, yeah. So we launched, Mind Candy actually started in 2004. So we've just had our 1-decade anniversary. 1/10 of a century. It's pretty crazy. And Moshi is about a little over 6 years old. And we pioneered on the web as kids started to discover the web and the internet became more mainstream.
They were banging away on their parents' desktops or something.
Yeah, do you remember those old big machines that had big monitors that sat on a desk? And yeah, that was feels like a different era.
And it seemed like it could last forever.
Yes, it did seem like it could last forever. We hoped it would last forever, but something called mobile came along and caused a few headaches.
Why?
But also opportunities as well.
What's the problem? Why is a 7-year-old kid inappropriate for mobile?
Well, they're not. For anyone that's got kids or has nieces or nephews or godchildren, the mobile devices are amazing. They're these magical black boxes that kids can play games, they can listen to music, watch cartoons.
So why didn't Moshi translate?
So we tried, and we've been developing mobile games for several years now, ever since the first, the iPhone came out. But we've learned it's a lot harder than we thought. So mobile, obviously, you can't build in Flash.
Is the touch thing, is that a big piece of it?
Well, we built on the web in Flash, and so we couldn't just port that experience over to mobile devices. We had to start from scratch. And Moshi on the web had been built over 5 years, so it was a very difficult project to move it straight over. And we knew mobile was important, but like a lot of companies that get very good at doing one thing, we didn't put maybe as much resource as we should onto the mobile opportunity. And obviously we see that now absolutely as the future of the company.
A lot of people use the word mobile sort of to cover everything from little iPhones to big tablets. I mean, do you guys think that way, or do you take tablet as a separate kind of a...
No, we definitely develop differently for tablet versus mobile, and we think the tablet is such an incredible device for kids, and many kids already have their own tablet, and I think we're going to see over the next few years most kids having tablets. I just think it's extraordinary what's going to happen. They are right at the leading edge of what goes on in technology. They love playing games and watching videos and listening to music, but also doing their homework on them and creating as well, which I think is really exciting.
So this idea that the tablet is a kind of a false direction, you do hear that from some people, but obviously not for kids.
No, I think for kids it's hugely exciting.
Okay. The kid thing in general, it's interesting, 7 to 13 fits in right under Facebook. What is that? 13 is in fact the Facebook start, right?
Yes, yeah. So I think it's a really interesting audience to develop entertainment for. So kids are not supposed to be joining Facebook or Tumblr or Snapchat. They're supposed to be over 13, but many of them do because they love to be social. They love to share. They love to connect and show off. And that led to us developing one of our new products, Pop Jam, to kind of create a safe, creative community for kids who are under 13.
We don't have it on screen here, but give people what's the 1-minute description of Pop Jam?
So, as I say, from building Moshi, we discovered how much kids love to create. Again, anyone that's got kids knows how much they love to draw and write stories, and we wanted to create a platform giving kids creative and digital tools so they could share their creations with other kids around the world. And the format is a little bit like a kid's version of Instagram.
So this is not gaming in any way. It's a social network for kids.
Well, a creative community, we call it. So there is gaming within it. They can play mini games, they can do polls, they can take quizzes, they can draw, write stories. So there's a lot of different things they can do.
When's the launch for that?
So it's live at the moment just in the UK, kind of at a fairly sort of early testing level, and we're hoping to go live with it early next year around the world.
Gaming in general, has been, you are certain, if you go down the list, Rovio has had a lot of trouble, Zynga famously has had a lot of trouble. Is gaming, what is it about gaming that causes such instability?
Yeah, gaming is a fascinating space. I'm sure there are many gaming entrepreneurs in the audience here, and one thing about gaming is it does attract a lot of very smart entrepreneurs. It's a really exciting, fun space to get into. And the barriers to entry have lowered over the last 2 years with the Facebook platform and then mobile gaming. It only takes a few people to create a mobile game. Now, the problem of that is it becomes very, very crowded. And there are well over 1 million apps in the App Store. And it's tough. So the prevailing model is in-app purchase, and we've seen some companies do incredibly well. King and Supercell and Gung-Ho.
In-app purchase doesn't work with 7-year-olds, does it?
No, in-app purchase is very tricky, and there are a lot of reasons why that's not a good model for the under 13 audience. So that's another reason why it's very difficult to create successful mobile games for that generation.
You used the phrase red ocean earlier. Explain what's a blue ocean?
Yeah, so this is a book that I think came out a few years ago called The Blue Ocean Strategy. And I think whenever developing a new business, a lot of people sail their ship, their company, into the red ocean, where there's a lot of noise and attention. And that's the competitive space. That's where to win market share, you have to defeat someone else. And the ocean is red with the blood of a serious, fearsome battle. And the smarter thing to do is to sail into the blue ocean to create a completely new market, and where you are the first to generate the profits and before others wake up to it. Peter Thiel talks about this a lot as well in his new book. So
the game that your jacket is in, that's a bit of red ocean too, isn't it?
It is. And one of the ways...
Why don't you walk us through that? What's the idea of that game?
So World of Warriors is a universe that we've built. It's kind of like a cross between Game of Thrones and Pokemon, with a little bit of horrible histories. And we always try and weave a bit of education in everything we do at Mind Candy. We call it stealth education. So you go on an epic journey, building, amassing an army of warriors throughout history. So you learn about Vikings and ninjas, gladiators, Romans, and you go on a quest. And it's starting as a game, and then we want to develop it as a series of books, a magazine, a cartoon, maybe a film one day as well.
You've done that, Moshi did that as well, right? Moshi went multiple media.
Yes, and this is one of the things that sits at the center of Mind Candy. We love creating games, but we think the most successful entertainment products of tomorrow will have a digital component at the heart, right. And then orbiting it will be all these other touch points and ways for the fans to enjoy the experience.
So, and how do you, there again, you're going up in age. You're not stopping at 13 with...
No, like a lot of entertainment, Pixar is a great example. They create entertainment that all ages love, from grandparents to parents, all the way through to kids. And that's what we'd love to do at Mind Candy, build a very successful family entertainment company. So we think the dads and mums and everyone will play our new Mobile Warriors game, but the kids will love the toys and the books and the cartoons and all the other elements.
And so in that sense, do you start to bring in advertising? Do you go multiple revenue stream?
Well, I think the core game will be in-app purchase, and then it'll be a physical licensing model for the other products. And licensing has been one of the main drivers for Moshi. Again, I think for anyone that's developing an entertainment product here, the licensing industry is fascinating. There's a lot of revenue, a lot of opportunity there. And there's a wonderful show I went to many years ago in Las Vegas, which is well worth anyone turning up for. If you've created characters and story that resonate, there are many ways to expand that through licensing into other products.
People tend to think of the kid audience as a kind of undifferentiated thing, but in fact, there's a big difference between 7 to 12 and 12 to 17 or whatever. I mean, can you make a product that a 7-year-old and a 17-year-old are going to simultaneously use?
It's not easy. But as I say, it is possible. Pixar have done it brilliantly, and I think if you layer in different elements to a game, you have artwork that appeals to all ages, you have a story that appeals to all ages, and then you can hopefully resonate with many different generations.
Are there old? I've never thought about that. I mean, does Moshi have older users?
So in the early days, it was just for kids, and we used to have a lot of parents come to us and say, how do we know what our kids are doing on this website? What's going on? Right. Can we log in and observe? And we said, well, why don't you just sign up and adopt a monster? And then we discovered loads of mums loved, and a few dads loved playing Moshi and looking after their characters.
Do they keep playing after the kids grow up?
I think the kids last a little bit longer, but we do have some mums that have been playing on Moshi for years, so they love it.
So, this is back to the Zynga Rovio question. I mean, how do you get out of the one-hit wonder syndrome? What as a strategy?
It's tough. It's same in the music industry. They call it the difficult second album. You create a big hit, you have a lot of success with that, and then you think the same lessons, the same things that got you to that one hit can be applied to future hits, and that's rarely the case. So you have to go back to the drawing board and reconstruct and rethink. And given how fast the world is changing, how many new platforms emerging, new devices, it's very tough. But as I say, we've got some really exciting new products coming, a very smart team. So we're
Do you have like a squads of little kids that you bring in to play with things?
We do have an advisory board at Mind Candy.
Advisory board.
Yes, we bring in some kids that sit around the boardroom table, and they tell us what's going to happen in the future. And I think a lot of people dismiss the kids sector and think it's child's play. But it's worth tens and tens of billions of dollars from a commercial side, but it's also fascinating to watch what kids are doing. They are the ultimate early adopters. So, we watch very closely. I think what's going on YouTube is fascinating. They love their YouTube stars more than they do their traditional Hollywood
and
heroes.
There's the famous stories of the little kids going up to the television and pushing on things and having nothing happen.
Exactly.
And being very disappointed.
They expect everything to swipe nowadays. They use, instead of going to Google, kids use YouTube as their search, their first place to go for search. When you think about it, they're very visual and they prefer that to text-based responses. So, I think they're a fascinating audience to develop for.
How do you market something like the Warriors game?
So marketing to kids obviously is a very delicate area, and you can't really use traditional social channels. Because Warriors is aimed at a broad audience, we will be using broad marketing for that. But Moshi was different, so my huge belief is the best form of marketing is a great product, and you should spend all your energy and your attention in the early days just creating something that's incredible, and when it clicks, it will start spreading very fast, and you build in elements to allow people to spread it virally.
So but that's right, because little kids, in theory at least, aren't allowed to go on Facebook and tell their friends about it.
Correct, exactly. But there's nothing more viral in the world than kids that discover a product that they love. We saw this at Moshi. The first year and a half, very, very slow growth. And suddenly, once we got the magic right with the product, it just took off like a rocket. And we'd see one child in a school would sign up. The next day, half the class would be signed up. A week later, the whole of the school. And it's amazing to watch that.
Can you plot the geographies like that? I mean,
yeah, to a reasonable extent. And it's just fascinating watching it spread. And because the UK was our home market, it grew fastest there. And we did okay in the US, but that's a really important market for us going forward with our new products.
And what about, do you do languages?
Yeah, we had a Spanish version, and we've translated some of our newer mobile experiences into different languages. But we're very keen to do that for our new products.
China?
China is obviously a massively important market, and not an easy one to go into. So I think having a good partner there is key.
Does anybody make a kid's tablet? Is there?
Yeah, you know, there's a company in America, not many people have heard of them. I think they're called Fuhu, and they've been the fastest growing company on the America Inc. list for 2 years running. And they create tablets for kids.
Like spill-proof?
Yeah, spill-proof and brightly colored edges, and you can drop them, and they come preloaded with a lot of fun content.
Was my very next question, was how do you get them to preload?
So yeah, we're chatting to them and a lot of other kids entertainment companies that are trying to connect with them.
So we've all got to get, when can we get World of Warriors?
Coming very soon. Wish I could give you the exact date, but very soon.
We'll be there. Thank you very much. And I think we are out of time.
Bang on. Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.